beating drumbeat on housing bubble. It's all over. Some of the smartest people out there talking about it. Do they have it right? Well, let's step into giving them something to talk about.
Just a little too long. Maybe they're seeing something we don't, darling. Let's give them something to talk about. Let's give them something to talk about. How about love, love, scuba dive, candy, dig it.
Good morning, everyone. Great scene from Step Brothers there. But yeah, let's give them something to talk about here because we're hearing more and more of this. And a lot of even my dear friends that are out there that I have such respect for are looking at the housing market and showing some concerns about it. We have Danielle DiMartino put something about the fact that the consumer confidence level is at a 40-year low as far as is this a good time to buy a home? And, one of our great friends who always helps us out with contributions from time to time, Peter Bookvar, he asked me about that. And when I talked to him, I sent him a note back. And essentially what I said is, I agree that this is a horrible time to buy a home. It sucks, but it's also sometimes a horrible time to diet or a horrible time to exercise. And yes, we do that and we get a lot of benefit from it, don't we? And while it is a terrible time to buy a home, and it has been a difficult time to buy a home, those that stuck with it, those that went through and those that purchased a home, how have they done? They've done really well, haven't they? So it could be worth it. And while it is certainly a bitch to buy a home today, it's also about alternatives, isn't it? This is not perfect. It sucks to rent maybe too. It sucks maybe to live with mom. And it really sucks to miss the opportunity that's out there if you don't take action and you listen to some of the stuff that's going on. I get it that we're looking at concerns. Is this housing market going to turn around and be a bubble? But where is that going to come from? There's more demand than supply. We have an increase in demographics of people coming to purchase homes. We know that builders are having a tough time increasing inventory. Yes, it's expensive. We get that. But will prices suddenly come down? How does that happen? It comes down from people, more sellers than there are buyers. Do we see that today? If you're going to sell your home, what are you going to buy? And boy, talk about if rates go up. If rates go up, aren't you then going to be trapped in your home and not going to sell your home? So that's less inventory in the market because you don't want to buy a more expensive home and have a higher mortgage payment. It's an interesting scenario. It is not perfect by far. Do we wish appreciation levels were less? Of course we do. Do we think this is extraordinarily hot? Yes. But it's important to look at the right metrics. Don't look at median home price. Look at actual appreciation. When you start to look at homes that are on the market right now, 1.2 million homes on the market compared to bubble-like conditions when there were more than 3 times that amount. And when you take a look at the increase that there are in households from that time, another 12 million households, it really makes you think that where would this huge drop in price come from? What is going to constitute it? Just because prices go up doesn't necessarily mean they come down. And Dan, I know that even builders are looking at this.
It's been so hot that builders have actually had to cut back because there's just too much demand and it's creating such a backlog of building homes for them. D.R. Horton, which is really the nation's largest home builder, said they're doing exactly that. They're cutting back on production of homes because of issues with supplies, with labor, and things like getting appliances. And, we had mentioned that we thought that some of the inflation could be transitory that we're seeing out there. But one of the big things we're seeing with a lot of the big ticket items like cars and computers and such is this chip shortage. And Intel came out and said that they think the chip shortage could last well into 2023. So maybe some of that inflation there on those items remaining very sticky.
Well, Dan, also on the appliances, homes are smart today, and all the appliances require chips. And if it's taking longer to get those appliances, it's taking longer to make the delivery of those homes. So it might look like slower numbers, but it isn't from the demand side. And same thing when builders say, hey, we just can't produce homes fast enough. The slowdown in potential sales, the media takes as, oh, people don't want to buy. They do want to buy a home. They just can't get the home delivered to them as quickly as before.
And speaking of homes, next week is going to be heavy housing focus. We're going to get new home sales and pending home sales. We'll get appreciation, and the Fed is also going to release a statement. Likely nothing new within that we haven't already discussed, but they are going to hold a conference as well, and that will be interesting. We did just get initial jobless claims yesterday, and a big part of their tapering or talks of tapering is the job outlook. So we'll see if they state anything about that. We'll see if they state anything about Delta, the rise of Delta cases, if that's going to hinder them beginning to taper. And then we'll get the Fed's favorite measure of inflation with PCE.
Well, Megan, let's take a quick look here at the charts, and not really crazy about what I'm seeing, down 16 in mortgage bonds, and we are in the middle of a range. There is good support, not too far beneath present levels, and the 10-year Treasury now above 130. That's important, and I'm going to show you why. Because when you take a look at how we had been squeezed here, we are now breaking to the upside here. Unless we do make a move lower, it seems to me that the next stop, it looks like 137, and that's going to be the real test. See, if we get up to 137, test this probably along with the 25-day moving average and bounce lower, we'll test that 200-day again, and maybe, just maybe, make a move towards 1%. That could be the slingshot move. It's a little bit premature to think about it. Let's first see if we get to 137, if that holds, because then when you look at the trend line here, you can see just we're in this trend. If that does hold and we start to see this move lower, you can see how we can gravitate towards that 1% level on the 10-year. Again, just some conjecture here, but we'll see how that plays out. We're going to begin the day here really carefully floating, but unless we see a pullback here, we probably don't be surprised if you hear from us later with an advisory to lock. Hope you guys have a great one. Bye-bye.